What's good, everybody? All right, we have to address the quarterback position, right? After June 1, we're going to have basically one quarterback. We have Aiden O'Connell. We need to bring in some more quarterbacks, whether we address that through the draft, through free agency, or via trade. And I've been following continuously all the mock drafts that are going on, right? It's the off season, it's mock draft season. And so I've come across probably the most realistic draft, in my opinion, that could possibly get us a top three quarterback in this year's NFL draft. Everybody talks about Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. And the one person that I think is on the majority of everybody's list is Jaden Daniels. And between the article that I'm just going to go over and the mock draft that was released by Yahoo Sports. Again, I review a ton of mock drafts. And again, this is the most realistic pathway, I think, to us getting Jaden Daniels. So if you're a Jaden Daniels fan, you're going to want to watch out for this one. So uh, before we get into it, if you could please like this video, turn on those notifications. I'm doing my next giveaway at 2,500 subscribers. So if you want to be included in that, hit that subscribe button. And so basically, an article has come out which ties Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, which isn't surprising because there's a lot of talks of the Falcons really eyeing the possibility of bringing Kirk Cousins in because they need to address the quarterback position as well. And so the article basically goes on to say that the Kirk Cousins to Falcons buzz doesn't appear to be just smoke. The soon to be free agent quarterback is seriously considering moving his family to Atlanta. Pro Football Talks Mike Florio reported Monday night, citing very credible indications. And so it goes on to say Cousins, who spent the past 6 seasons in Minnesota, is said to have always viewed the Falcons as the top alternative to the Minnesota Vikings. Now it goes on to kind of see kind of where are the ties? Where are the ties to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings and the Atlanta or the Falcons in the Atlanta area? It says further, as Pro Football Talks notes, the 35-year-old has familiar ties to the Atlanta area as his wife Julie grew up in Alpharetta, Georgia, and his in-laws reside there as well. And so, kind of there you have it, right? There's at least a tie where there is a possibility where Kirk Cousins, if the Minnesota Vikings situation doesn't work out, if Kirk Cousins doesn't want to be there anymore or wants to explore different areas, I think Atlanta might be his top pick. And so, if that happens, right? If the Atlanta Falcons do pull the trigger and bring in Kirk Cousins, this is where this mock draft comes into play. So if that bomb drops, if that news drops where Kirk Cousins signs with the Atlanta Falcons, this is where this mock draft comes into play. So let's kind of break this thing down. Again, this mock draft was released just about a couple days ago from Yahoo Sports, the experts there at the NFL experts there at Yahoo Sports. And let's break down kind of how this draft scenario plays out. At the number one pick, the Chicago Bears pick up Caleb Williams. Not a secret. I know there's some talks about Chicago's moving out of the number one spot, but in this scenario, they do pick up Caleb Williams, which could very well happen. Now, the Washington Commanders go with Drake May. Now, Sam Howell is that quarterback over there. New regime, new offensive coordinator. They may not move forward with them. So Drake May is still a very good quarterback. Drake May has a lot of upside when it comes to being a starter in the NFL. So I can see the Washington Commanders possibly going with Drake May. He is one of the top three quarterbacks going into this year's NFL draft. And so with both the two top quarterbacks off the board, with Caleb Williams going number one, Drake May going number two, the Chicago Bears jump back up from number nine because you got to remember the Chicago Bears also hold the number nine draft pick. And they have a lot of draft capital going into this year's NFL draft. So in this scenario, they jump back up to number three. They trade with the New England Patriots and they get arguably the number one receiver coming in this NFL draft, which is Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. And so now they just paired up Caleb Williams, their guy, their quarterback, with the top receiver coming out of this NFL's drafts, Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, not too far fetched. The New England Patriots have a lot of holes to fill, so they might drop back, stockpile a lot of picks, some additional picks in this year's draft, bolster that roster. So it's not far fetched that the New England Patriots would actually drop out. I actually think I actually think that, and I've been saying it for a while, that the number 3 spot is probably the most vulnerable spot for teams to jump into because the New England Patriots can move back. So then at the number 4 pick, the Arizona Cardinals pick up Rome Odunze, which again, Rome Odunze from Washington, again, one of, if not the top receiver coming out of college this year, going into the NFL draft. So a lot of ties to that pick. Not surprising. Now this is where it really starts to get interesting because the Minnesota Vikings, if Kirk Cousins does sign with the Falcons, now the Minnesota Vikings are in need of a quarterback. And in this scenario, in this draft, the Minnesota Vikings actually jump up from number 11 and trade with the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers move back, pick up JJ McCarthy, the quarterback out of Michigan. So now the Minnesota Vikings just addressed their quarterback situation, and JJ McCarthy is the third quarterback off the board. At number 6, the New York Giants pick up Malik Neighbors, the receiver out of LSU, which does make some sense. I think that they might be trying to look for a quarterback as well with the Daniels talk going on over there. They may move on from him, but in this scenario, the New York Giants pick up Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of LSU. Again, not far fetched. Tennessee Titans, they are trying to bolster that offensive line. They pick up the number 1 tackle, Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. That does make sense. Now, this is where it comes into play. We sit at number 13. We jump up and trade with the Atlanta Falcons because remember, now in this scenario, the Atlanta Falcons now has Kirk Cousins as their starting quarterback. We jump up to number 8, which is a very, very um, doable doable move when we talk about going from 13 to number 8, and we trade with the Atlanta Falcons and we get our guy, we get our quarterback, Jaden Daniels, at the number 8 spot. So, guys, in my opinion, I think that's how it could possibly play out. I think that is a realistic scenario where we get our guy, we get Jaden Daniels, a top 3 quarterback in this year's NFL draft, at by trading up with the Atlanta Falcons at the number 8 spot. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know how realistic you think this is, how realistic of a scenario this possibly can be going to the draft. So, I appreciate you guys checking in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, turn those notifications, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm out.